Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Alexiot's here on Sunday morning after a loss to the Atlanta Hawks. We could not win the last home game of this homestand, unfortunately, and we went 3-3 over the homestand. Really disappointing. I know a lot of people are disappointed. I know Click has come in here first and said, "This is who we really are," and like this, we're not good enough and stuff like that. But I want to tell y'all, listen, this is still 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of stuff that we figured stuff out this week, but once again we're behind all the rest of the teams in the league as far as figuring out more things out. Atlanta has had more time to really kind of figure things out with their team, and we're behind. The injuries have set us back, so there's going to be a little bit of this kind of like now this is the stat I was just figuring out. 4 of the 5 starters shot 13 for 45 last night, and that is really, really bad. That is really bad. Everybody except Scottie shot really, really bad last night. 13 of 45 is the collective shooting for the 4 other guys. And we can point out Fred, we can point out Pascal, but Gary, OG, they were all the same. They were all just as bad at shooting. Fred could have shot more. He probably would have made more shots, but he didn't force it because he saw that he wasn't making it. Gary just didn't have it last night. Did not get to play late in the game. And then Siakam, he was hampered with really bad calls, not able to operate. He wasn't totally on himself. And, fouling out with like almost 3 minutes to go in the game, that's symbolic of something. The refs were not our friends last night. They were really bad. The referees were really bad last night. And the fans let them know. Thank goodness. You go, fans. Ref, you suck. Ref, you suck. Yeah, that was rightful. That was very good. But yeah, the referees were really bad last night. I don't really like Jason Goble at this point. I already kind of don't like you because you're a Miami-Dade cop, but even more don't like you now after last night. Miami cops are, they're probably, if you know what I mean. All right, so let's see what you guys are saying. I like that Raymond is talking back to Click as far as it was just the Hawks. It was winnable. But this is the thing. We lost the game in the first 5 minutes of the game by not coming out and establishing our offense right away and having a dead period at the very beginning. That is basically like, you're running a race and they shoot the gun to start and you let the other team run like a furlong ahead of you. And you have to run behind them the whole time and try and catch up and do a little bit more throughout the game. Well, there's 2 things you got to do when that happens. And this is how we did it last year. You have to shut off their water for a good period of time, and you have to be making your shots at that very same time to overcome double-digit leads that you are behind on. Well, we couldn't do enough effective shutting the water off. I mean, sure, we could score, and at times in the fourth, we did a good job of having a bunch of possessions where they did not score, but we did not capitalize at the other end. So we're not going to win this way. The way we won this week is by getting out on front and having the lead and being the other opposite in the other way, like where we have the double-digit lead and they're trying to catch up with us. Well, it went down the other way last night. And that whole beginning of the game screwed up the game and lost us right then. We lost the game in the first quarter, in the first 8 minutes of the game, because we couldn't establish our offense. We couldn't get it going. OG took the little post-up shot and he missed it. He didn't make it. And in fact, the only basket we got in the beginning was off of an inbounds play to Scottie Barnes where he dunked it right down the middle, one of the easiest ways you could score. But yeah, really, really bad. This is going to be so important going forward if y'all want to win, Raptors. You're going to have to establish things right at the beginning of the game. You got to come correct. DeJounte Murray, after the game, said, we wanted to win this game. We came here ready, and we executed the way we wanted to win this game. We needed that kind of attitude on our side of the ball. That this is the thing. The Hawks took this game way more seriously than us last night, and it showed. We have to be more serious about winning, Raptors, and that means coming to the game prepared and in the right mindset from the start. And the only person that had that mindset correct last night was Scottie Barnes. The rest of y'all were wrong in the way you were approaching this game and the way you came into this game and the way you tried to play. So y'all need to figure it out, and we can't have these bad starts because you put us in a hole and we're not going to win these games coming back because we're not good enough on defense to really cut the water off like we were last year, and our offense is not capable or consistent enough to catch up in those situations also. It's too bad. It is too bad. I know a lot of people are reverting back to being like, well, we suck. We need to tank and all this kind of stuff. I'll tell you right now, that's not true either. Let's just ride the wave of the season, see how it goes, and we'll just see where we end up at the end. It could very well be that we're still a pretty good team and in the playoffs. Once again, I want to tell y'all, I much more value getting to the playoffs, to the play-in at this point, and getting a little bit of taste of experience for our youngsters once again, letting Scottie say, I'm a playoff player every single year. I didn't miss the playoffs in my second year. I think that's important. And people that want us to just tank because we lost to Atlanta last night, you're wrong. We're not going to do that. We're going to continue to try and win because they have more figured out than that is wrong. They have more figured out to get this right than is wrong, and we can't figure out. So we're going to figure this out, and we're going to continue to try and win. So tank people that want to tank and talking about tank today, you're wrong. We're not going to do that. It's all signs are saying it. They said in the interviews after the game, they figuring things out. They're close, and they're not going to just like start like screwing up and playing bad just to try and get Victor right now, just because fans want them to. No, they're not going to do that. So don't even think about it that way, guys. Seriously, if you want us to tank to get Victor, you're crazy because we're too good to do it. And we are on the right track and we're moving towards getting better and better as the season goes forward from here. All right, let's see. Excuse me. Raymond saying Wancho needs to stop being useless. His damn production doesn't warrant his minutes. That's not true, Raymond Jacob. I'm going to stand up for Wancho Hernangomez right now. He had a very timely 3 early on in the game, and he was a +5. He did not get any rebounds. But listen, this is the thing about Wancho. He's in that second unit. He's in the bench unit, and he's a part of like kind of a tandem with Koloko. And what happens is they come out there and they're kind of just like Precious and Chris. They're a team. And what happens is Wancho is like the veteran counterbalance to the really inexperienced rookie Koloko. And that when you have them out there together, Koloko can kind of cheat and maybe do a little bit dangerous things trying to block shots and maybe get out of position, where Wancho's really aware of team defense and he'll come and plug that hole all of a sudden for if Koloko's out of position. So it's like you need that balance of vet with the inexperience of Koloko and that little tandem that comes out. Sure, maybe he's not the guy. Maybe he isn't the one we should be putting out there. And maybe it's that. Maybe it's Kem. But right now, these are the 5 bench guys that he wants to use and very consistently using them this week to, some good effect. I mean, in fact, you look at Malachi in this game. He had not had a couple of good games, and now he had a pretty good game last night because he kept believing in him. He even said some really nice things about him before the game, saying that he trusts him. And, well, it showed last night that Malachi had some good offense for us, hit a 3, did some interesting stuff. Let me see. What was he? He was 3 for 5, hit a 3, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 points, a +2. Malachi had a pretty solid game, and that's Nick not giving up on him. So I don't know. I don't know why you're so down on Wancho, Raymond, because honestly, the starters played much worse than anybody on the bench. So Raymond's also saying, and not putting in Doughton or Wisecamps makes me go into my bad place. Well, I'll tell you the truth. Jeff Doughton Jr. was not on the bench last night. He's with the 905. In Sioux Falls. So he wasn't available for the game last night. There was no chance of Doughton coming in because he's just not even in the country. He's in the U.S. right now. As far as Wisecamp, yeah, I would have loved to have seen him in there, but he's not getting the chance to right now. But yeah, 905 are playing today in Sioux Falls against the Miami Heat G League team and Justin Champagny. That game will be at 4:00 today. And I have your referees for that game right here. The crew chief is Agon Abazi. The second referee is Jacob Barnett. And the third ref is Shante Anderson. So there you go. There's your ref crew for the 905 game at 4:00 today. Check it out. Justin Champagny versus Delano Banton. 905 versus Skyforce. Very, very cool game. So yeah, Raymond, I understand. You want to see some of these other guys get in the bench and get a chance. Well, hopefully this will happen, but hopefully not because of bad things like injuries or people, playing so horrible that they fell out of the rotation. So we'll have to see how it goes. Jimmy Pope is here. Good to see Jimmy Pope. Been a positive person all week. Starting 18-2 ain't gonna cut it. No, it ain't. And that's where we lost the game. Poor fans who paid hundreds of dollars for that. They were in a second night of a back-to-back. That performance by Fred was unacceptable, and Pascal needs to step up. They didn't even have Clint Capella or Bogdan Bogdanovic either. Two very important players to their lineup. Listen, I have to give the Hawks credit. I didn't think that they were like totally a good team, but you know what? They really played their guards right last night, and they absolutely controlled the game and took over the game and killed us. The play between Murray and Young versus Trent and Van Vliet was not even close. Those guys absolutely killed us in the guard matchup last night, dominating and making them look bad on defense. And then also, not letting our guys do anything either. So it really was a guard matchup where we lost. That their guards were just way, way better. They would look like all-star guards. And our guards just couldn't hit anything, and they didn't look good. Now, Gary had some steals early, but he just wasn't hitting his shot. And Nick lost confidence in him and did not play him late. I really liked the lineup that the Raptors used late in the game without Fred and Gary. That was very cool to see Precious and Chris out there with OG, Pascal, and Scottie. That's a very big lineup, and there's a lot of interesting things about it. And they were doing pretty good for a good chunk of the fourth quarter. In fact, that was the quarter we held the Hawks scoring down the most. The whole game, the Hawks could score at will, and that was really bad. It was really, really bad. A lot of it was DeJounte and Trae just being able to be amazing offensive weapons because, Trae makes hard shots. DeJounte does a really good job of making space and getting those easy mid-range shots and just floating them in. They're good shooters, and they were on last night. And our guys didn't show up to the game with that spark or that energizer right of the way. We kind of were like passive coming into the game, and Atlanta established their offense way easier than we did. We struggled to establish our offense, and that was really huge parts of why we lost. They did whatever they wanted to, and we weren't putting enough resistance. I would think that Nick would say two things about the beginning of the game as far as we didn't establish our offense, and also we didn't come at them and get engaged contact-wise defensively with them. Now, the referees were very different for this game compared to the Charlotte games or other games this week. They were very much calling it very weird, and they were not giving any respect to our guys. Our guys were getting hit. There was the Gary dunk in the breakaway. He should have gotten an and one for that. Pascal was getting ignored in this game and not getting any treatment of being an all-NBA player by these refs. It really was a bad ref hit job in some ways. But once again, we can't totally blame them. We did not shoot well enough. We started so poorly. But the refs were definitely reinforcing, keeping Atlanta ahead of us by double digits. There were all kinds of little nefarious bullshit things. And yeah, you could see it in the frustration of Nick Nurse and the players getting technicals. Scottie Barnes getting a technical last night. Nick Nurse getting a technical. Yeah, we were pissed at the refs because the refs were fucked up. And I don't like those guys. Sean Wright, you're okay. But also, you're from Georgia, and you seem like biased towards the Georgia team last night. And Jason Goebel, fuck you, man. I don't like you at all. Ray Acosta's all right. He wasn't horrible, but it's the middle ref was really bad to us last night, Jason Goebel. He was very, very, very shady. And Nick was on his case. Man, was he. He was going after him, talking major coach talk at him, telling him he's fucked up. And yeah, that middle ref was really bad. Sean Wright wasn't that good either, but it really was Jason Goebel. He was the worst one. Let's see. Nameless is here. Tough loss, but it ain't no thing. You can't win games shooting that poorly. The real question is, how did Atlanta only beat us by 11? In some ways, that's true. Like, they should have beat us by way more, and we were fighting. We were a fight in that. We didn't give up like we normally do. We always try and fight right up until the end. It's just we get to 7 points at the closest, and they pull back away with like a 3 all of a sudden, and it'd be back at 10. And it was just tough. It was just really, really tough. Atlanta leading the whole game entirely. Let's look at the team stats. Field goal percentage, Atlanta shot 51%. We shot 41%. We're going to lose if you lose the shooting battle. We got 3 more shots than them, but they still made 7 more field goals than us. That's bad. That means we were just not shooting well at all. And some of the shots were very open and easy shots. We just didn't make them. This is very indicative of this season. We're getting open shots. They should make them. They didn't make them. The three-pointers, 11 threes made for Atlanta and only 7 for us. So that's an extra 4 points right there that we're missing. They shot 41% from three. We shot 24% from three. That is awful, dreadful, horrible. We did get to the line way more than them, and that may be the counterbalance. And people say, "Oh, the refs weren't on your side." Well, look, you got to the line so much. Yeah, but we only shot 80% at the line. We missed 6 free throws, and they made all their free throws except for one and shot 94%. They just shot all around better than us. All 3 categories: field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, free throw percentage. They won all 3 of those categories. Now, the rebounds were pretty even throughout the whole game. We did end up with a +3 rebound advantage over them, but honestly, it didn't feel like that. It felt like just because, look, Clint Capella's not playing, we should be out rebounding the hell out of them. I don't care. Okongwu's coming up and all this kind of stuff. There's no reason why, with all our length and all our size overall compared to them, that they are so close to us in rebounds, that it was even for most of the game. And I hate that. I think that the Raptors did not play with the right effort. This is the thing, Raptors. You were playing against a team that's right next to you in the standings. You were playing against a team in the 3rd game of a tied series for the season series. And that this game was a tiebreaker for the playoffs. Whoever won this game was going to win the series, and it was a huge game. What were you guys thinking about this? Atlanta was. You needed to think about this and make this more serious about a must win, because I don't feel like you approached the game in that kind of way. And that was a huge part of the problem. You didn't approach the game prepared in the right way mentally, like the Hawks were. The Hawks knew how important this game was, and they took it very seriously. And you guys did not. And I hate that. I hate that. I want to know why you guys come so flat to games like Milwaukee and this one. What is going on with y'all in the pregame? Why are you guys not coming in with like an aggressive, like we're going to get it going right away kind of attitude? Because you didn't have it last night. 19 assists. It's not the 25 I like to see from the Raptors as far as signifying they were sharing the ball, connectivity, passing, the stuff we've seen recently that's been so good. Not enough of that. Only 19 assists, but they only had 19 too. And then the turnovers, we actually had more turnovers than them. That does not happen ever with our team, where we turn over the ball more than the other team. And that was a huge factor in why we lost last night too, is they were getting in our passing lanes and running it down in transition and getting easy baskets like we like to do. And they were doing it more than us and outscoring us in a category that we usually outscore the other team in. We did win the points in the paint by 16, which was pretty good. But that's really just a counterbalance to the more threes that they made over us. Just not a good start. Really flat, really bad offense. G's here. G is saying, I asked Chev why they can't get it together at the same time. He said because a few of them need the ball to have an impact. Makes sense. They need to move off ball much better and have better set plays. Now, one of the reasons why Siakam didn't have a very good game last night is because in some ways he's not playing as a dominant ball handler like he has a lot of the season. That they're playing him off the ball and they're not making the ball go through him. In fact, the ball was more going through Scottie last night in a lot of ways. More than Fred, more than Pascal. They were really using Scottie as the hub. And I'm not against that. It's just that this is the thing. There's going to be inexperience in different areas with Scott. That is, in some ways, he's learning. He's really getting a lot better really fast. It's just the growing pains of Scottie being more integral to our offense is showing in the outcomes of games. And that these are kind of like just young growing pains. Like he was the best player for us last night, above and beyond. First star for sure, as far as my choice. But in some ways, leaning on him and using him as the hub is going to take away attention from Fred, from Pascal, Gary, the other guys. And that we just got to learn how to get them to play off of him and be productive. And we've had success with that this week in the games against Charlotte. It's just that last night, I don't know what the Hawks were doing exactly. We have to give a lot of credit to Nate McMillan. He's a very good coach. And he's very smart about game plans to try and have a good winning strategy, because he used one last night that was very smart that messed us up and they won. And I have to, like I said, I got to give a lot of credit to him that he really had the right game plan for us. But that's interesting. As we more and more give the ball to Scottie, and he's not just like a glue guy who kind of just runs around and collects garbage points, that there's going to be a detrimental effect on some of our other superstars as far as learning it and getting it like kind of balanced so that it's not too tipped over on one side or something like that. And then maybe it was very too much tipped over on one side. But also on the same token, like I said, these guys were not making their shots last night. They seemed like they were all very cold. Pascal was not shooting well last night. The refs weren't helping him. OG was okay, but he was just okay. He wasn't good enough, and he wasn't really super horrible either. But he was just okay. And sometimes when everybody else is not good, he needs to step up and be that second guy next to Scottie if he's the only one doing well. But Gary and Fred and Pascal were absolutely horrible as far as shooting last night. And those nights are going to happen sometimes. It's just, thank goodness we had those bench guys. In fact, let me do that. The first star of the game is Scottie. Scottie was by far the best Raptor on the court. 27 points, 9 to 16 shooting, 9 to 10 at the free throw line, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and a block. Just an all-around great game by Scott. And we saw him really dominant at times, like with things he did around the basket. There was some plays where 50-50 plays, and he just wrenched it away and took it and threw it down. Very, very strong, dominant performance by Scott with lots of good low post, easy shots near the basket and dunks. And I love that. I love that so much, Scottie. You keep going. You're growing into who you are in the NBA, and you have a lot of weight to throw around. And I know that you poofed out your hair even more because you are a center right now, and you want to have the illusion of size, even more size, by making that hair even more thicker and poofier and bigger all out. That's like a Jared Allen thing. You want to be looking more ominous and bigger on the court just because your hair is adding to it. And that is a visual optical illusion, but it also works. It really does. Ask the world of nature. And when an animal can poof itself up like that, it will scare off its enemies. Trust me. So yeah, Scottie, great job poofing your hair up and being a bigger man on the court. My second star is Chris Boucher. I just felt like Chris did so many interesting things in the second half when he was trying to spark us to come back. He was the one who did the most at one given stretch where he just was crazy. He hit a couple threes and was crashing the boards like a madman. And I love that, Chris. I mean, you guys really were a big lift off the bench. Boucher and Achua. And those are my second stars. My second and third stars, Chris Boucher and Precious Achua. A combined 27 points, 10 of 17 from the field. That is fantastic. 2 of 3 from 3 for Chris. They were 5 of 6 from the free throw line. 5 rebounds, 9 rebounds altogether. Yeah, just good stuff. 3 steals between the two of them. Chris was a +5. Precious 14 points. Just really good stuff by both of them. I was really happy to see at least those two bench guys were stepping up next to Scottie to help him as much as they could. So the 3 stars, Scottie, Chris, and Precious. Those are my 3 stars of the game. Let's keep going. La 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 la. Nameless is saying, so you're saying, where it jumped? So you're saying Toronto can shoot that poorly and still almost win a game? Yeah, we did that a lot last year. We would have really bad shooting games, but we just manufactured so many more shots or got more free throws or something like that that we'd end up making up the balance. This is something we did so many times last year. In fact, the formula to do it last year was very interesting. And it's just that we're not getting the right amount of defensive intensity consistent throughout the whole game to replicate some of those kind of things that we did last year. That, listen, we could miss and miss and miss, but if we're making the other team miss a bunch too at certain stretches, like say we say, all right, in the fourth quarter, 6 minutes to go, we're not going to let them score at all for the rest of the game. And we're going to try and overcome them if they're up by like 12, 15 points. Well, we're going to shut their water off, and we want like 5 minutes where they absolutely do not score anything. And that was really what we did last year. But this year we can't do it consistent enough. that we're just not good enough at cutting off the water for that amount of time, along with scoring on the other side at the same time. And that's how we did it last year. And it really was by the skin of our teeth at times. And this year, we're just not good enough to do it that way right now. It's just not clicking well enough, and we're just not on the same page well enough to do it that right now. And that's part of the problem. The culture should be we need to come out there and kick some ass right away. We really, really, really do. Jimmy's saying, I would have thought we were the team on the second night of back to back. It looked like that. Seriously. Jimmy's saying that it looked like we were the ones who played on Friday night and they were the ones who had the day off. That really is how it looked last night. That they had way more energy. And it's not even that Nick didn't do the subs right, because he did a good job with the rotation and the subbing last night. I have no problem with that. Seriously, he gave enough rest to these guys. And in fact, I commend him for benching Fred and Gary in the crunch time for not shooting well and playing Precious and Chris. That was a huge, huge decision, and it was the right one. And it was something that I asked for like a month or so ago, that you can't just blanketly play these guys out there if they're not having a good game at the end of the game. Maybe in some ways Fred and Gary could have shot us back into it, but I don't totally believe that. I think that they were just very off yesterday. So yeah, it really did look like we were the ones who were playing on the second night of back to back. Not only that, they traveled from Indiana overnight and they didn't get much sleep. So what the fuck? You know what? Screw this. I'm calling Nick Nurse. Screw this. All right, hang on. Hello, Nick. Yeah, it's a Raptors freak again. Yeah, I'm gonna call you after every game. This is just what they want me to. All right, the audience here wants me to call you. Listen, how are we coming into the game like we're the team that were on the second night of back to back against a team that was really on the second night of a back to back? Why do we look like that team? What is going on with starting the game like that? Like we started the game like we did against Milwaukee the other day last night. And that is no good. We can't have that kind of a deficit right from the start. You see how bad it is, how hard it is for us to catch up. What's going on with the beginning of the game? Why aren't they prepared? All right. Well, listen, have a safe flight to New York. And hopefully you guys can start better tomorrow. This is no good. You guys can't dig a hole for yourself right at the start and come back. I know you know that. All right, I'll shut up. I'll shut up. I know. All respect and love. All right, I'm sorry. You guys win. Just win, baby. Just win. All right. All right. Thank you. Bye. He's not having it this morning, man. I shouldn't even call them. I mean, I don't. He's gonna be just like not. He's irritable. Let's just put it that way. All right, let's see. Cowboy saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Good morning, Bradley. Good to see you. Naco the Nachos here. Our best players were Scotty Barnes, and Scotty Wayne Barnes Jr. Honorable mention goes to Precious and maybe Pascal for some good passes. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Pascal. He just looked a little off last night. Not making the shots exactly right. And then, like, I don't know if they were just playing them very well or something. Click saying, this is the team we are. Seen it too many times. I know, Click, but we're still in development. We're growing and we will get better. And who knows, by the time the season's over, we may be a lot more sound and functional and working in a better way. Like I said, much like not starting the game right and having to make up a double-digit deficit, we'll take this whole idea and apply it to the season. That it's very similar. It's like we started the season at a detriment, and we're coming from behind from a double-digit lead in the season. As if it's looked at like a game. Yeah, well, the injuries messed us up, and we're down 18-3 in the season, just like we did in the game last night. So it's in some ways that's really what's going on here, is that we're trying to come back from being behind double digits for the whole season. And it's not easy. It's not easy. We're good. We're trying. And the closer we get to 500, the better chances we have for our playoffs and where we are in the play-in and stuff like that, or possibly being out of the play-in and in the playoffs. Now, I'm really am all in on being positive and winning and going for it and not trying to be like, bleh. But if we lose naturally, we just lose naturally. In some ways, we got to treat the season this year like the Tampa season near the end of the Tampa season. Not that we're going to hold guys out on purpose to try and lose games for sure, But as we play, we're going to need to temper our expectations and allow for losses. I know a lot of you guys are perfectionists and you don't like losing. I know you don't want us to be used to losing. But for right now, we've got to take it as it comes and try and see the bright side in everything. Last night, there are bright sides. There are some bright sides. We did not come prepared. We did not shoot well. And you know what? We're still in the game in a lot of ways. So it's tough. It's tough. G saying they started with low energy. That's right. What was with the low energy Raptors? Come on now. Get up for this. Listen, this is a team above you in the standings, right above you. You could have beaten them. You would have leapfrogged over them, and you would have won the season series. You would have the tiebreaker against them. If it gets down to the end of the season and Atlanta's near us in the brackets, they get all the favoritism because they beat us 2 out of the 3 games this season now. And that alone, that's the kind of thing that Kyle would have put on the bulletin board and made a big deal out of it. This is what I want you to do, Fred. Listen, maybe it's you, Fred and Pascal. You guys need to make sure the team knows the importance of the game. And I'm sure you do this to a degree, but I want you to really make them feel the importance of the game. I mean, serious. I want you to come at them like Thad Young and Scottie Barnes in a halftime practice warm up. Come at him and really let them know that this matters. I really want you to be ready, Scotty. So I'm going to be getting in your face, even though it looks like we're arguing. I'm really, like Fred, he's like, no, we really got to win this game because this is the season series. And we don't want Atlanta to have beaten us for the season series. This is just like a game 7 for a playoff series. You got to win this game. And you got to put it across to the team how important it is to win this game. Because I don't think that it was gotten across how important it was to win this game last night. I don't think you guys did it, and that's too bad. It is too bad. Kareem Thomas is here. Just when Scotty started to figure it out, the rest decided to fucking forget. I'm like I said, I don't know how much that goes within each other. I don't know how much it does. Like Chev and what they were saying is that in some ways giving it to Scotty may take away a little bit until they figure out how to get all of them going at the same time. It's very hard at times too. But yeah, Scotty figured a lot out. And that's a bright spot right there is look, you guys can be upset. We lost. Sure, I'm upset about it too. But I'm very, very happy to see Scotty is a very dominant player. And that more and more we're seeing him do stuff out in the court it's like our future is so bright. So let's look at it short-term and long-term perspective. We're getting Scotty's development is going quick, accelerating, and he's going to be very good. Very, 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 very good. He's going to be, yes, and I'm very happy about that. That'd make me smile just on itself. That I know this guy is going to be such a good player. Let's see. Name is saying the start of the game was eerily similar to the Bucks. Yes, I just wish OG had not spun the way he spun on that shot. He spun the wrong way on the first shot. If he had spun towards the lane, he might have made it. But in some ways, I want them to be even more closer to the basket. Like, don't be impatient. Take your move and really get as close and high percentage as you can. And if it's not you, OG, it should be Scott. It should be one of you two guys taking that first shot because it's like opening a can of beans. You want to make sure you open it smooth. There's no jagged edge you can cut your hand on. You got to make sure you open it right with rip it off like real quick and boom, everything's easy. You just do it hesitant. You're just kind of, then you're going to get hurt or you're not going to do well. And that's what the problem is. You guys got to be very purposeful and very direct and very much, I'm making this fucking basket because I need to get my team started right. And I'm going in there and making this OG. You cannot have a room for error. This has got to be a play that is like 70 to 90% going to go in every single time. And it may be that it was just in that little small part that doesn't go in with OG's first shot. But that shot is maybe the most important shot that is taken the whole entire game is that first shot the Raptors take. Does it go in or does it not go in? Because it will set the tone for the whole rest of the game. Trust me. So take it so seriously. In fact, make a crazy ass play that just gives you an easy dunk or easy post up for Scotty or OG. Just do it, Nick, because that will set the tone for the whole rest of the game, whether we make our first basket or not. Seriously. Oh my gosh. Juancho's moving off the ball very well. They need to get him the ball more when he cuts or is in the corner for the three. Yeah, I like that. I want to see Wancho take more threes. Nick said this. He wants to have him be more of a weapon from three. And he is that guy. It's just we're not finding him, or he's not aggressive enough. We just got to get him more 3-point shots. I'm all about this. And hopefully at some point during this season, there'll be a stretch of games where he takes a lot of threes and he's very successful. We want to see more of Wancho for three. I'm a fun guy saying, somebody please try to explain to me where the hell Coloco was last night. Trae and DeJounte floater over again. Honestly, I'm so done with Nurse, man. Well, that's not Nick Nurse, and I'm not going to blame Nick Nurse. In some ways, the players didn't come to the game prepared. Maybe we can blame Nick Nurse for not preparing them right. The leadership on this team is not correct in some ways. I love Fred and I love Pascal, but these guys need to be more active assholes in some ways. Yeah, I'm going to say you need to be a little more meaner, Fred. That you guys need to tell the team what we expect. Like the culture talk lately is very important because it's true. The Toronto Raptors do have a culture. There's certain things or pillars of our established foundation of our organization and that we're not fulfilling right now. And Fred, in some ways, it's the leader's job, the coach, and the team captains to tell the team these are important things about who we are and our identity and that we need to fulfill them. And we're not doing that. There's a couple of things that just aren't having done this way. And that's what I'm saying. Leaders on this team need to step up. And I'm not even talking about leaders on the court. Sure, Pascal needs to step up and play better on the court as a scoring leader, but also behind the scenes. You guys need to really make it evident how important some shit is. And then in some ways, I feel like we're too casual in our approach to how we come into the game with our energy. And that the leaders on this team need to make it very grave and serious and letting them know just how important this is because it's just going to get ratcheted up. You know, you get to the playoffs, you get the second round, you get to the quarterfinals, you get to the conference finals, you get to the finals. It gets ratcheted up every single time. And you don't want to be the team that's catching up to ratcheting it up. You want to be the team that's ahead and ratchet up to the maximum. And the other team may be not as prepared or up for it energy wise. And that's what I'm saying. Raptors, you got to get better at getting up for games. That's what I'm going to say right now. And whether it's somebody in the locker room just kind of saying, look, this is the Atlanta Hawks. We were playing them for the third time this season. This is the only last time we're going to play them. And whoever wins tonight wins this season series. Because nobody came out there and played that game last night like they wanted to win the season series against the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks came out like they wanted to win it, but we did not. Oh, no, we did not. We did not. Now, I'm not going to finger point at Nick Nurse. Still, seriously, he's letting me call him. All right. Cowboy's saying, how was the real jerk? Sorry, I couldn't make it. I didn't go. I had a bad day yesterday. And Nako was not feeling well, so he couldn't come all of a sudden. I didn't know if anybody was going to come there. And I found out my mother had an accident yesterday. She had to go to the hospital. She fell and hit her head. And I've been just really worried about her. And I spent the rest of the day, I didn't feel like being around people because I was worried about my mom. So, yeah, I think she's okay. But she's still at the hospital this morning. And I'll find out how she's doing after the stream. But, yeah, I wasn't really wanting to be around people because, I was having a tough time besides the game and all that kind of stuff, just worrying about my mother because she fell and hit her head in the bathroom. So, yeah, all right, let's see. Cowboy saying also, take the good from the bad. Scottie looked like he's back, and the bench played pretty good. Another thing, call Nurse. Yeah, called him. I hope that call was okay. He wasn't too happy I was calling him. Of course, after games like yesterday, I'm sure he gets a little mad. And plus, they're trying to rush a practice in before they get on the plane to go to New York for the game tomorrow. In the afternoon, y'all. The game tomorrow, it's MLK Day in the States. So they have games that are during the day on a Monday. And we will be playing at 3 o'clock tomorrow. So just so y'all know, the time for the game tomorrow is a little bit different than normal. But this is good because we're going to have to play Milwaukee on Tuesday. And we're going to have to travel. So we can get that game in New York out of the way in the afternoon, get on a plane earlier, then they can get a good night's sleep and play in Milwaukee against the Bucks on Tuesday. So, yeah, listen, we lost Atlanta last night. We start winning these games coming up, we'll forget about this loss on Saturday. Trust me. We just need to keep continuously try and get the wins as they come, the games as they come. Yeah. Let's see. But no, I didn't make it a real jerk, but we will try and do this still. It's just that it didn't happen last night. It's unfortunate. It just did. Lion Hunter saying yesterday was such a winnable game. I don't understand why this team keeps coming out with zero energy. It's been a consistent theme throughout the season. I won't say it's been consistent though, Lion Hunter. I'll say that there's nights where we have duds, but there's other nights where we come out gangbusters and we're actually on it and we do really well. So I won't say that this is just every single time it's like this, but there are definitely dead notes that we're hitting on the piano. That we hit that one key and it's like, oh, it's broke. We need to rewire the string in the piano just so it'll work because we're hitting those dead notes. Milwaukee, Atlanta, yeah, those are dead note games coming in the game. And that's what I'm saying. That's preparation, that's mindset, that's coming in with the right attitude, coming in with like a kill or be killed attitude where it's like, we got to be better than them because they came in with the better attitude than us and they were more prepared and they were ready. In some ways, part of it is that there's a little bit more veteran leadership on their team in some ways that is kind of more hard edged. I don't want to call Fred and Pascal out too much today, but really there is a leadership problem on our team. And I know these guys are good leaders and they're good guys, but they need to be maybe a little bit not good guys. Like Pascal, you're the number one guy on our team. You throw a lot of weight around, but you're a nice dude and you're not naturally a leader. But in some ways, you may need to be a hard ass. And I know that you can't talk if you're not playing well like you did last night, and neither can Fred. But we need somebody to just hold that standard and just, in some ways, we need a guy who's going to be an asshole and just be like, look, this isn't acceptable, y'all. We need to come better to the game. Jimmy's saying Fred's lateral movement seems gone. He looked really bad yesterday defending them. It's like he hurt us at both ends of the court. And that's part of the reason why I'm like, Nick, good job. You didn't play him late in the game, even though he might have helped us. It's such a gamble. He was already getting burned left and right by those guys. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Fred. Him not having a lot of scoring the last two games is going to make his haters come after him. He really does have to consistently get a certain amount of points just to hold them off because they are really ravenous and they've been after him a lot this season. I hate it. I just want Fred to do well, to shut them up. And like I said, Fred, just be that leader, show what you got to show on the court and say what you have to say behind the scenes to really get these guys prepared and understand how serious this is. Because in some ways, I don't know how, I really don't think they're preparing themselves for the game correctly right now. Let's see. Kareem saying, whatever fucking progress Delano Banton made over the summer, Nick Nurse done killed that. Well, let's see today. He's going to play today against Justin and the Sioux Falls. Maybe Delano, I don't know. He has had some bad games recently. And there was a lot of good stuff he was doing right at the beginning of the season. He had some crazy confidence and all kinds of things. And yeah, I don't understand exactly what's going on with him. Maybe they want to continue to give him adversity, and that's how he grows. He has to get even better and continue to grow. Now, one thing I will say is ESPN has a thing out right now with all 30 teams with where they're at with the trade deadline and what's going on with them. And on the Raptors thing, they have, all right, front office discussions. Is Fred VanVleet expendable? He has a player option for next 2023. How do we address the lack of playmakers on this roster and stagnant offense in half court? Do we have enough floor spacers on the roster? Off the board and will not be traded, Scottie Barnes. Players with trade value, Pascal and OG. Free agents in July, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., Otto Porter Jr., Juancho Hernangomez, and Delano Banton. Now, those are player options on Otto, Fred, and Gary. And then Juancho has an unrestricted free agency. And then Delano is a restricted free agent. And then there's a bunch of controllable contracts, a long-term contract. And then they talk about our draft capital being the Raptors own all their first-round picks in the next 7 years. Toronto has 6 second-round picks available to use in a trade. The finances, Toronto is $3.7 million below the luxury tax, including the player option of VanVleet. They are $10.9 million below the tax next season. So, yeah, this is just kind of an article out on ESPN today about what position and where everybody is in the NBA as far as with the trade deadline and what they're dealing with assets and what's coming up and stuff. Very interesting stuff. Go check it out if you're interested to see the different teams and what they have to offer and what's going on with that. It's cool stuff. Cool stuff. Isaac Campbell saying, but yeah, Delano's a restricted free agent this summer. And these are things he's got to be playing for. I mean, listen, Nick Nurse can do all this to all these players and not give them enough chances. Yeah, he does do that. But that's why they have to be so much better. In some ways, Delano's just got to do everything to make him say, I can't say no to you. And that's what's going to happen. Let's see. Isaac saying Scotty Barnes is playing amazing. Love watching him play at both ends of the floor. Yeah, the poofy hair really worked. Seriously. Like you had a really cool attitude out there. You were playing like a big man. You were the big boy on the court. And just keep going, Scotty. You just keep doing that. No Clint Capella helped. But yeah, Okongwu really impressed me. He was a suitable fill-in. And they didn't lose. I mean, they lost some of the real lob threat and like really tall shot blocking stuff, but he was a very suitable fill-in as far as the positioning and rebounding and defensive stuff. It was pretty good from him without Capella out there, and I was impressed with him. Okongwu is a really good young player. He's coming up. Let's see. Nameless saying Trae torched us all night. It was bad. Ha ha. Oh yeah, the Hawks. Let's look at their stat lines real quick. Combined together, they were 29 points for Trae Young, 27 for Murray. They were 19 of 34 from the field. You take that in contrast to the 13 of 45 for four of our starters to the 19 of 34, and you see two guys were actually just killing us. Both were like plus 15 and plus 13. 9 of 9 free throw shooting for Trae. They were 4 of 10 from the 3-point line. 8 rebounds for DeJounte. 6 assists for DeJounte. 9 assists for Trae. 2 steals for both of them. Yeah, just really solid, good stat lines. And they really were the two that killed us. Now, this is the other thing, though. The Hawks had different guys step up and do good things for them. Like the threes by Hunter were very key. Like he was nailing those threes. He was kind of like the OG role for them. And he was much better than OG in some ways because his threes looked really good and they were very timely. The 3 threes that DeAndre Hunter hit. And then, John Collins did some really important stuff in that game, just being active, he was kind of like a Boucher kind of role on their team, of being real active and cleaning up stuff and just getting involved. He did foul out, but they had different guys that came in and did different little roles that kind of added up to winning. I talked about Okongwu. I talked about Collins and Hunter, of course, the 2 guards. And then off the bench, AJ Griffin, of course. I mean, the guy can't miss. And then the Holiday guy was actually really good too, and so was Johnson. So they had a couple of different guys off the bench. One of the things that AJ Griffin said after the game in his interview was he's very familiar with the Raptors. I wonder why, and that he knows exactly how to beat us. So I'm like kind of pissed at Adrian Griffin right now because, all right, I know it's your son. You're going to teach him everything you can to make him the best possible NBA player. But I think that you gave him proprietary knowledge about our team because he knew exactly how to break us down and score on us. It was like this little move that he did to this like corner of the little side of the free throw line. And he described it in his interview after the game. Well, this is what I know to do to beat the Raptors. And it was very effective. So I'm mad at you, Adrian Griffin. Because honestly, a big part of why Atlanta's won the season series this year is because your son has killed us. And I wonder how much you told him about our team and how to beat us. So I'm wondering about you, Adrian Griffin. I'm wondering about you because his son laid it all out after the game. He said, yeah, I know this is how you beat the Raptors. You do this and you do this, and then boom, it's easy baskets. That sucks. And this is a crazy thing. Atlanta had not beaten us in the season series since like 2016 or something. I think this was the first time they'd beaten us in Toronto in a long time. This is very much like the New York game recently where they beat us in Toronto. This is like the first time these teams have come to Toronto and beat us in a long time. And I hate that. I hate that so much. Oh my gosh, I hate that so much. G saying Chris brought so much energy. Think he should have done it earlier. Sometimes he makes bad decisions, but they needed energy last night with the low energy start. Yeah. And I'll give more credit to Nick. And this is why I don't think he was doing a bad job last night. He subbed guys in quick. Like that Milwaukee game when they came out and started so slow, he waited too long to bring in guys off the bench to try and help them. They didn't score until bench guys game. And we saw that kind of happening again. He said, well, we better get the bench guys in quicker. And he subbed them in at like 7 minutes on the clock. Like, what is that? 5 minutes into the quarter, he subbed his starters out. He never does that. And I have to give him credit for bringing in the bench earlier than normal in the first quarter. because that was important and that was very necessary for how they started with their energy. And Chris is great, but the thing was, Chris wasn't involved in that group. He didn't bring him in. He didn't bring him in until the second quarter. He brought the Wancho Malachi Koloko group in. And I don't totally agree with that. I don't know if Wancho and Koloko's line should be coming in ahead of the Precious Boucher line. The Precious and Boucher really are the spark. And kind of like these guys, I trust them way more in some ways than Koloko, even with and Wancho. And it's just, I guess you're going to put Wancho and Koloko in first. I know that Koloko, honestly, it's the little bit of time that Koloko was out there, he was actually making it hard for them to score down low. And I don't know why Koloko didn't play more in the second half. He probably would have helped us. So, there's woulda, coulda, shoulda there a little bit. Let's see. Forgetful saying, good morning, folks. Minnesota is winning. Milwaukee is losing. Every day brings the possibility of change. That's right. We just got to ride the wave and just try and like get the most advantages and like really look at them. Like I said, why are we the team that looks like we were on the second night of back-to-back and Atlanta looks like they're the fully rested team and they're doing everything right? What's going on here? Why can't we game these situations? In fact, this is going to happen again tomorrow. New York is playing today, and we're going to play them again tomorrow. They're going to be on the second day of a back-to-back. This is happening to us a lot recently. Now, is this a good thing? It should be, but lately it has not. These teams that are on the second night of back-to-back, they kick our ass, even though we have rest. What is going on with that, Raptors? Like, how are we not gaming these advantages of being the team that's rested and the other team is playing 2 nights in a row, and we're getting them on the second night of the back-to-back? That's what I'm saying. New York's playing today. We're going to play them tomorrow, very early in the day. So this is even better back-to-back because they're going to play today and then have to play in the afternoon. Well, how can we take advantage of this, Coach Nurse, and make sure that we have a gaming advantage in the game because of the back-to-back situations? We're not getting the advantage that is told to us by the schedule makers. Oh, Raptors, you have an easier schedule because you play all these teams on the second night of back-to-back. Well, that advantage is not being utilized and getting leading to wins on these games. And that's messed up. That is not good. That is not good. Let's see. Trae yelled at the refs and got free throws for a transition foul, even though they had a foul to give. Not sure how this works. Scottie yells at the refs and he gets attacked. Yeah, that is symbolic of how the refs were favoring the Hawks. Yeah, he kind of directed them to give the take foul to him for that one play. Now, to be honest, it was a take foul in some ways. Fred did not have a real clear play on the ball, and he just kind of grabbed them from behind. But that's weird because it does seem like if you have a foul to give, people are allowed to just kind of grab the person like they always have been. And where's that line crossed and stuff like that? I don't know. It was very fishy. I think the refs, like I said, were willing to give as much as they could to the Hawks to help them and make it really hard on us. They were definitely making it hard on us. They were not calling fouls to help us get to the line a lot of times when there was a lot of contact. And that was pissing me off. And it did seem like they were working with Trae Young in that play, G. It did. He like told them, and they said, oh, yeah, you're right, Trae Young. You're a golden boy. Boom. He's right. Take foul. Give him a free throw. Lion Hunter saying it's like the Raptors have forgotten that they have to outwork teams to beat them. Coming out with zero energy on so many nights is extremely dumbfounding and disappointing. Yep. Hunter from Jimmy Pope. Yeah, this is a prerequisite for every single game, Raptors. Y'all got to come correct. You can't be coming half-assed. You can't be fucking half-stepping this bullshit because you see what happens. Y'all need to be very serious. I know y'all have Eye of the Tiger, and you come in there and really fight, you'll do well. But when you don't have that, and the other team has it more than us, well, we lose. And that's really just how basketball is. The team that wants it more will win. And we didn't want it as much as Atlanta wanted it yesterday, unfortunately. I hate that. And to me, in some ways, it does have to do with like leadership on the team telling them how important each game is. All right, let's keep going. Nameless is saying the refs did not want us leapfrogging Atlanta last night, period. That may be true. That may be part of it. There may be a little bit of dark Illuminati gatekeeping by the NBA at this point. We're in a position in the standings at this point where we can be handled a little bit. And they may try and handle us from now on to keep us in a certain place. It may be very, very hard for us to overcome because the forces that be really like looking at the Atlanta division and seeing us at the very bottom. And I hate that. I hate being at the bottom of the Atlantic division. We should never be the last team in the Atlantic Division. That should be New York. And that may be part of the design, is that they don't want New York to look worse than Toronto for once this year. And that's part of why they keep us down. So yeah, I'm with you, Nameless. I think the refs had a big factor in what happened last night. But once again, our start was the whole reason why we lost. The refs just reinforced it, not being able to overcome. Because look, we could have like almost coming close between them hitting dagger threes to keep their lead up of over 10 points, or the referee just doing stymieing kind of things. It was very frustrating for the Raptors to get going enough to try and overcome the Atlanta lead. That there were a couple different things working against them, and the referees were part of it. Guardian Transit saying Raptors are putting themselves firmly into trade talks. We will know soon which way Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster determine the team direction. Yeah, yeah. I mean, anything's wide open. That's kind of part of the fun of it. In some ways, we have so much flexibility and so much ability to go in so many different directions right now. It's kind of freeing. It's kind of like, wow, this could be a very interesting team very soon in different ways. Even if it stays the way it is, it's still going to be an interesting team. But we are in a good shape in a lot of different ways, and we'll have to see. We're the first domino, as they put it, for the trade market. Well, let's see if that domino falls or not. It may not be falling over, and then the whole thing just doesn't happen. It may be like one of these domino setups where like the first domino doesn't get pushed, but a domino down the line gets pushed and it ruins the whole setup. The guy spends 4 hours putting all the dominoes out, makes a nice pattern, colors, goes around this way, goes up. You know what I'm talking about. Well, that domino that's ours, that red domino at the very start, doesn't get pushed. Instead, we wait around for it, and then a domino further down the line messes it all up and falls over. I don't know what that analogy is, but you know what I mean. Kareem saying, just when I thought I hated Trae Young more than Joel Embiid, and I really hate Trae, Embiid was in the middle of the jazz dancers yesterday acting like he doesn't know he's fucking up their choreography. Interesting. I didn't know about that. Well, so Joel was in no man's land. Literally, he was in the dancers' space when they're trying to do their dance routine and he's messing it up. Yeah, that guy's just an idiot. He's an inconsiderate, big goon idiot. And yeah, I hate him. I hate him just for knowing that. I don't even see the footage. Just knowing that he's messing up these jazz dancers from doing their jazz is pissing me off. You're anti-jazz, Joel Embiid? Get out of there. Don't let these jazz dancers get messed up. Oh, you mean the team, the Jazz. They're not jazz dancers like dancing to jazz. They were playing Utah. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that's no good, too, still. Isaac Campbell saying Murray aggressively slammed the ball to the ground and didn't get a tee. Nurse went after the refs on the next stoppage of play. Call it both ways. Pascal got fouled out for moving his feet on D. Yeah, the fouls on Pascal were horrible. They really came too many, and him not being able to be available for the last 3 minutes of game is kind of messed up. Because honestly, refs, it's like you taking Trae Young out of the game for the Hawks is what you did to us. Now we have replacement guys that can kind of step up and fill his shoes, but still, that's kind of fucked up. You were not showing Pascal Siakam the respect that he deserves for who he is in this NBA at this point. So you guys not get the memo about who Siakam is now, because y'all didn't seem to. That's for sure. Now, one thing I will get on Nick Nurse for is the challenge call. He called it way too early and for a superfluous, frivolous thing. Because who cares that foul on Fred? Standing your ground on that. Okay, we could have used that challenge later. This was one of those cases where maybe the early challenge call was not the right idea. That challenge could have been used in the last quarter in some very bad calls by the refs that you would have won the challenge later, and it may have had more of an impact on the game, Nick, than the challenge when you called it in the first half. And I didn't agree with that. And once again, you didn't get anything from it. You won the challenge, but they still get the ball. It's not like you got anything from it. You saved Fred for a foul. That's all you did. And in some ways, that challenge was not utilized correctly last night. Should have been in your back pocket, hopefully, for at the end of the game when some of those calls were really bad. You could have won one of those calls late, and that could have been a momentum shifter, Nick. So I didn't agree with that. I didn't agree with when the challenge was called last night. Usually he's pretty good, and he's had some really good luck winning them recently. But once again, these challenge calls, he's winning them, and we don't get any real reward. We save a foul maybe, but we don't end up with possession. And there's all kinds of stupid shit going on like that. Cowboys saying, I agree, G. Also, I blame the fans in the arena. We're at home. Show some love. They need to yell defense right from the jump and hype up your team. I think we should swap the court side with those nosebleeds. That's right. I'm all about this, Bradley. I believe in that too. Now, one of the things I'll say about weekend crowds at the arena, the Saturday and Sunday crowds are different than the weekday crowds. They're usually people that work a lot during the week and they may be a little tired, or their families, they come with their kids and stuff. Sometimes those crowds aren't the best cheering crowds. I found that the best cheering crowds are Friday night, Thursday night, during the week, like people are hyped. They worked all day and they come rush down there, and they sometimes are more hyped at that point. Sometimes a Saturday crowd is really lackadaisical. These people do things all day during the day, and maybe they're not really thinking about the game. The game's an afterthought, and they show up and they're just there. They're not really present. And in a way, that kind of like symbolizes the players just showing up and just being present and not really being active and participating in the game from the start. That's what I'm saying. If you go to the game on the weekend, on a Sunday or a Saturday, you need to really bring the energy, because that crowd may not be really into the game. And that's part of the problem. You couple into the fact that the Raptors are not a very good team this year, and people are not very invested. And they may just coming down there to be entertained, and they're not being like fans. They're just there to hang out and be at the Raptors game. And that's why it's really important for people like the Raptor freaks and people that go to the games to be very loud and be leaders in the crowd, to get the crowd in tune and more involved in the game. Because it's true, the weekend games can be very aloof, the crowd. They can be very not tuned in and kind of not really like with the game. They may be more interested in eating food and drinking beer or playing video games out in the concourse, something like that. So, but I agree, Bradley. Our fans have been up and down. There's been times where our fans have been absolutely fantastic on this homestand, but there are also times where the fans have let down the team with the energy in the building, just because they suck. They're like either what Bradley's saying, they're shitty fans that are too close to the building, that's too close to court. They're just paid a lot of money and they're just there to be seen. And then at halftime, you can't see them. The whole bottom bowl is gone. There's nobody there. And it's stuff like that. It just pisses me off. I'm with Cowboy. We could flip things around and put the people that really care near the court. Woo! That would be an interesting home court advantage. Trust me. If they had people like me and Bradley down there sitting in the front row, yeah, we might get thrown out because they don't want people to be too loud that close. But yeah, I'd be very loud. And I've seen people be loud down there. I've seen Jack Nicholson yelling at half court at a Laker game. Yeah, he can get away with it. Well, would you let us sit down there and yell and be as loud as we are up in the 300 level down right next to the court? I don't know if they would. Maybe. I'm a fun guy saying there's clearly an issue with coaching staff routine and such, and practicing, etc. I've never seen Raptors teams with this low energy prior to recently. We need a fresh turnover. Nick and everyone's got to go. No, I disagree. You and I agree a lot of time. I'm a fun guy, but I'm not going to agree on this because Nick's smart. He's going to figure this out. He will figure things out and fix things quicker than most coaches. And there's so much that he's established with our team that's so second nature and good, that's better than the bad. And that you bring in somebody totally new, it's a clean slate. There's a whole new learning curve of learning the new guys, new stuff. There's no guarantee if he's actually good. You have to learn to be confident in him. The players have to buy in and be like, okay, yeah, we like this guy. And half the time, sometimes a coach will come in and the players will shut him out, or they won't even listen to him or believe in him. And they have to learn to trust him, and they may not get a chance. And we could go through a coaching carousel of 4 or 5 coaches until we find somebody who you think will actually be good. So no, I don't agree with this at all. We have one of the best coaches in the league, and he's more likely to change and adjust and be a better coach for us than us finding another coach that's better than him. I will say that right now. Don't fire Nick Nurse. The people that want us to fire Nick Nurse are the Celtics fans, are the Sixers fans, because they know we'll be worse because of it. And it's a detrimental move. It's not a good move. Trust me. You may think that you want him out of there, but trust me, you do not. You do not want Nick Nurse gone. Just trust me on this one. We don't know who the next guy would be and whether they'd be successful at all. It could be a total train wreck. And then you just make the franchise in an even more weakened bad position because now our coach is not respected and the players are not bought in with him. And we have even worse problems than what we have right now. Because that's the thing. These guys are bought in with Nick Nurse. They still trying their ass off for him to a degree. Now, consistently trying their ass off for him, that would be better. And that's part of the problem right now. Let's see. Naco the Nacho saying Scottie could be more confident with the three at the same time. Other players should be scoring 20. Yeah, Scottie is shying away from the three. Part of it is his placement on the court when he's playing. He is just not going. He's just not. Scottie is just not getting to the 3-point line because he's all inside right now. So he's not getting the opportunities because he's just not standing at that part of the court at this point. But I think he could shoot the three. He's pretty confident with the three, and he likes shooting the three. It's just that that's not part of the scheme right now with what he's going on with him right now. All right, let's see. Kareem saying at Nako, I would concur about Scottie's 3-point shooting right now. He bullied defenses the last 3 games. That's his bread and butter. Remember, Pascal DeRozan only started jacking threes in year 5. Yeah, I think that we need to do what Scottie does the best, and that is just getting it inside and doing high percentage shots. The threes, he'll have to take them at times, like I said, when he gets left open out there, but our scheme isn't putting him out there right now. So it just is what it is. All right, this guy's name is Peter. And let's say the Raptors clown show is coming to an end with these spoiled millionaires, professional players who fooled the playing fans long enough. All right. There's so many people in sports that are much worse and perform so much worse, like as a team overall in the history of things, and have gotten paid so much money. So, all right. If we're going to look at that, all right, I don't even know what this is. And who is this Peter guy anyway? All right, let's see if he has more to say, but he's got 1 strike so far. Let's see. Guardian saying for 3 games, we drive the paint and pass out, and we're crisp passing the ball. Not good ball movement again. Recipe for disaster. Now, I'm wondering, is it just that they didn't do it correctly, or was Atlanta doing something with their defensive scheme to stymie it and mess it up? I don't know. What was going on with that, Raptors? Why wasn't there more pick and roll going on? Why wasn't there more side to side, as Scottie put it? Like, I like to see the side to side. I want to see more of the side to side. Okay, G. St. Peter, the Raps made the playoffs 9 out of the last 10 years. Don't think fans have been fooled. Some years are development and retooling years to get back to the top. That's right. Can't just stay at the top all of the time. Every team comes to ups and downs at some point. And man, our downs aren't as bad as a lot of other teams' downs. Just trust me. There's a lot of other teams. Look at what just happened with Sacramento. They just got above 500 plus 5 games for the first time since like 2006 or something like that. So, yeah, don't give me that crap. You know, we're very much a good franchise. And, you know, maybe your sports acumen should be more applied to other Toronto teams and not to the Raptors, because we're not like those other Toronto teams. We win championships, and we win a lot. And right now we're just in a rough spot. And it's real easy for fans or casual or haters like you to just come and kick us while we're down. You go ahead and do that. You feel real good about yourself for that? Okay, that's all you got in your life to feel good about. You go ahead and be a miserable fuck, you dumbass Peter. Yeah, there you go. That's what you get. All right, let's keep going. Fiercely saying, good morning, family. It was rough to watch yesterday. Silver lining was Scottie's performance. Pascal is unguardable, so it was clearly an off night for him. Yeah, I agree with this. Like, Pascal really did have an off night. And, let me break down his stat line exactly. He was 5 of 16. Yeah, that's horrible shooting. He missed all 4 of his 3-point shots, 5 of 7 from the free throw line. In fact, those free throws that he missed, you could tell he's not concentrating right. 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers. He fouled out, a minus 13, only 15 points. That's a down game for Siakam for sure. And I don't know, maybe it's his biorhythm. Maybe he just wasn't up for the game correctly. Something, who knows? But hey, they're going to Madison Square Garden tomorrow. And that could make things real nice for Pascal again, if he can get anywhere near the kind of game that he had there the last time we were there. So yeah, I feel good about that. For 3 games, let me see. Okay, I read that one already. Tom Duke is saying, pirate ship, let's get mean. Pirates, yeah. Tough one to swallow for sure. Let's go. Nice that Nurse still answers your call. I feel for the boys. They try, just are not clicking. Yeah, I don't know what it was last night. Like I said, they didn't come in the game correct. It seemed like they started trying to get it going. And listen, having 4 out of the 5 starters not play well and we still kind of kept the game close, that is something, I guess. And it's just so nice that our bench is finally showing up at least. We can look at the bright spot. We didn't have a bench a month ago, and now we're kind of having a bench show up with Precious being back. So there's a lot of good things to look at. Nameless St. Peter, you're a loser and a damn hater. Why don't you take a hike? Yeah, get him. Bow, bow, nameless. Yeah, get him. Bow, bow. Buongiorno. Isaac's saying only love for you and your family. Only love. Thank you, Isaac. Yeah, I hope she's okay too. I mean, this is scary. You hit your head and bad things can happen. I don't. She's older. She's in her 70s. So yeah, I've been real worried. They're in Atlanta, so I'm far away. But at least my brother's there to help my dad with this situation, at least. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Tom Duke, for the prayers from my mom too. Healing. Yeah, bless you and yours, Lex. Sorry to hear that. Also, smash the like button for Lex and Raptors Free. Thank you, Bradley. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Isaac. Yeah, I really do appreciate that. I just want to find out what's going on with her a little bit more specifically this morning from my dad. I'll probably talk to him shortly after the stream, and he can give me the proper update of what's going on with her. But I know he's probably on his way to the hospital to be with her this morning. Let's see. Nameless is saying, Peter, why are you coming in here disrespecting the host with insults? What the fuck is wrong with your brain? You come into his house with your shoes on and feet on the couch. Yeah, who are you, Rick James, coming in with your muddy boots and messing up my white couch? Charlie Murphy, let's get him out of here. Yeah, bitch. Yeah, bitch. Nah, listen, it's part of the entertainment. Listen, I left the door open so he could come in, and that's fine. We need to have a little bit of dissenting voices around here. This can't always just be Raptors freak positive all the time. We need the contrast. And to see the dumbass haters come in here and we flame them in the comments, and also I will verbally flame him on the show. Yeah, that's part of the fun. So let's see if he has any more comments. Like I said, he's got 1 strike, and you know what happens in baseball? You get 3 strikes, you're out. So we'll see. He's got 1 strike. Let's see. We'll let him hang around for right now. Basketball Rewind saying, rough one. I will say this. At this point, you cannot lose more than 2 in a row for the rest of the season if you're going to make the playoffs or play in for what? We cannot play like how we did. Tom's pointing to that and agreeing with Van Hoot on Basketball Rewind. Check out Basketball Rewind on YouTube. Great YouTube channel on basketball. Yeah, I'm going to agree with this. That we can't have like a losing streak like we did in December where we lost 6 games in a row. We cannot be losing any more games. If we're really going to have a loss, we're going to have a win right after it, and hopefully a couple of wins. And then if there's another loss, there's going to be a little bit of that back and forth between winning and losing. But we need to make sure there's more winning because we do want to be above 500, and we have a deficit to make up right now. And that's the tough part. G saying, funny, I was thinking Griffin knows all the inside info on the Raptors and wonder if that had a part. And I guess he confirmed it. Yeah, he said it in the interview after the game. They were interviewing him in the locker room. Not only that, Adrian came in the interview and was like, my boy, my son. He's like, all right, Dad, I'll see you after my interview. And like, yeah, he basically spelled it out that he knows how to play the Raptors really well. And then he dissected it and he said it verbatim. Like, well, you go to this place and you get this room and boom, you have this mid-range shot is open to you all the time. And that was what he was doing in the game. So yeah, he said it after the game in his interview. I watched it. It's crazy. Yeah, look at all the finger pointing. Tom's pointing and he's mad. Blackhawks here. If we don't punch first, then we get punched out. The team reverts to slow starts, and Nick Nurse doesn't have a handle on it. Nick Nurse is solving the rotations, but the preparation still needs work. I think this is so astute and right on point. This is a good distinction. He still did a good job with the rotations and the minutes distribution. Like none of the Raptors were over 40 minutes last night. The highest point minutes was Scottie with 37 minutes, and rightfully so. He's a youngster. He can play that, and he won't get as tired. And, look, Fred had 26 minutes. Gary only played 20 minutes last night. So they really did give Achua a lot of the minutes, 28 minutes. And Chris got a lot of minutes by the end of the game with 18, Malachi with 19. The distribution is way better. And I think Blackhawk's exactly right. He's got the rotations right. He's got the minutes right. But he didn't have them prepared correctly to start the game to get them going right. And that's the big problem right there. Fiercey saying, Scottie said, stay hungry at the previous presser. He committed yesterday, but not the others. Yeah, they were asking Scotty weird questions after the game. He's like, "Well, what do you know about this team after this homestand? Like, what do you know?" He's like, "Well, what do you mean? What do I know? I know this team really well. I'm on it. I play with them all the time." It's like, I know that we're a good team and we just need to play harder. That's all is what he said. But I don't know. They're trying to pick things apart, especially with the way the game went last night, where Scotty was the only good starter. In some ways, they're going to like trying, like the reporters are trying to like needle him and maybe say he was like, "Well, don't you feel good about your teammates because they didn't step up and play next to you or something?" I don't know. They try and start all kinds of little bullshit, the reporters, with their questions. And it seemed like that's what they were fishing for with him. He wouldn't take the bait. He was just like, "You know what? We're a good team. I believe in us. We're going to be fine." Let's see. Nameless is saying, well, isn't the TNT studio in Atlanta too? There's another one motive right there. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, people. That's talking about Nick Nurse for sure. Um, I've wondered about that at times. I think that actually the Hawks are in a detriment because they're in Atlanta, not that they're helped. I don't think they're helped. I think they're in a detriment because they're in Atlanta with TNT. I've thought about this in the past, and I think that part of it. Look at they've not been successful for the most part, so I don't think it's been helpful to them. It's just like the New York office is not helpful to the New York teams in some ways. Like, I don't know. It's tough to say. Maybe there is some sort of hidden benefits that Hawks get for being in the hub of TNT, but also maybe there are some detriments. Also, it's kind of like us. We have obvious detriments being the only team in Canada, but Masai Ujiri's also said there are very much positives to being the only team in Canada also. So I'm sure it's kind of like that with Atlanta. There's probably some good things, but there's probably some very negative things about being in the same city as TNT. So, yeah, and I'm with Nameless as far as with Nick Nurse. We don't fire the coach like that. That's too easy a move to just blame him. We got to work through it with him because he is the right guy. Just trust me, he is. Isaac saying every team with a superstar either has a secondary scoring star or has multiple 3-and-D players that stretch the floor. Teams are collapsing on Pascal and calling game. Yeah, it's just making it really hard on him. That's why these other guys got to make shots. And when most of them are not hitting their shot last night, we had so many open shots that we missed. Yeah, there's a lot of problems last night with our shooting last night. Once again, our shooting did not show up. Cowboys saying we're going to make the 6th seed at least. And by that time, Nurse and the team will bully teams in the playoffs. Let's go. Let's go. I believe. Forget Peter. Yeah, I'm hoping Cowboys right, and I'd like to see this happen. I'd like us to get a regular playoff spot and not be in the play-in. That would be great. But a play-in situation may be good for these guys too, because it may be a do or die situation, and if we're successful, that can really build confidence. Look at what happened with Minnesota last year when they won their play-in game. How crazy they went. And in some ways, that may be a nice little small victory if we can't go deep into the playoffs, win our play-in game and earn our playoff spot, and then just do as best as we can. Because that play-in victory is kind of, I know it's kind of a whatever kind of victory, but it still does mean a lot if you can win a one and done against another team. So 100%, Isaac, wouldn't that become more possible with an offense that runs plays some more? And yeehaw, Cowboy, let's ride it out. Yeah, I mean, listen, we're going to have to, hopefully, we'll see what happens. Like, once again, Masai Ujiri, Bobby Webster, we'll see what happens in this trade deadline period with the roster and if it's going to change. I'm not going to speculate or say I want anybody gone. I'll just wait and see what happens. And when that happens, then we'll talk about it. Isaac saying pick and roll is starting. We never had that before. Laugh out loud. I know we need to play the pick and roll right away. What's going on with the pick and roll with Fred and Scotty? Y'all did a good job with that against Charlotte. Continue it. Tom Duke saying we never had a pick and roll for way too long. We didn't really play a pick and roll since like Ibaka and Gasol were here. That we really have not been using it. I think we tried to use it a bit in Tampa with people like Baines. Was a disaster. It didn't work. Cowboys saying, true, Tom. I think they need to do that with Koloko and Precious. Also, let's go. I'm not worried. That's right. Stay positive. And yeah, it's just one loss. Keep going and just try and collect more W's. That's all we can do. Kareem saying, sidebar is maybe not that bad being a Knicks fan because opposing players usually put their best games up at the Garden. Yeah, if you're a Knicks fan, you go to Madison Square Garden, you get to see the highlights and the best players in the league play very, very well against your team. Kareem Thomas being a troll towards New York. I love that. All right, let me just real quick go over the game just a little bit more, and we'll get out of here before 90 minutes. All right, last night once again, the Raptors just let the Hawks score way too much. That one of the things besides the not shooting very well, the Hawks had 34 points at the end of the first quarter, and that's no good. And then 35 in the second for 69 points in the first half. That's what we put on Charlotte the other night. And that's way too many points, Raptors. If we are a defensive team and a really good defensive team at that, we do not allow 30 points per quarter like we did in this game. We got better as the game went on, and 18 points in the fourth quarter. That's fantastic. But of course, part of that was that they went cold and they started missing shots finally because they weren't missing early. I really don't like that their big man got a double-double on us. 10 points, 13 rebounds for Okongwu. He really was, in some ways, throwing the weight around too much down there. And we needed more of a counterbalance, although Scottie was good with 12 rebounds himself. But we had way more size than them. We were way bigger than them, and we did not utilize that. We did not utilize that we were the team that was rested, and they were the team on the second night of a back-to-back. We did not have good shooting from 4 of our 5 starters, and 2 of our bench guys stepped up with Scottie, but that was still not enough. I don't know why we didn't play Koloko more. That he should have played in the second half. He might have really helped us. So yeah, it's just a tough loss. I hate it, and that they were winning the whole entire game. They jumped out to the lead and just beat us all the way through the whole entire wire-to-wire game. What are you going to do? Oh, well. Raptors 905 playing today, 4 o'clock against the Sioux Falls Skyforce. And we will see Justin Champagny playing against us for the first time today. Delano Banton, Jeff Doughton Jr., Ron Harper Jr., Reggie Perry, all those guys. You can vote for them in the All-Star game for G League. Although Delano's not on the ballot. I noticed you go and look and you're trying to find him. You cannot find him anywhere on there. I don't understand why they're doing that to Delano Banton. He deserves to be on the G League All-Star ballot for sure. They're pushing for Reggie and Ron Harper to make it, but not Delano. I don't understand that. What's going on with Raptors 905? Why isn't Delano Banton on the G League All-Star ballot? And why are the Raptors 905 not pushing Delano to be an all-star on that? He's not even like, they're not putting any ads out like Ron Harper's getting or Reggie Perry. What's going on with that? Why is that like that? Well, you can watch them today, 4 o'clock. Our referees are Agan Abazi, Jacob Barnett, and Shante Anderson. Those are our refs. All right, let's finish it up. I'll read. There's no more comments. We're good here. Just a real quick fantasy check. Tom Duke is still on top of the fantasy league, 112 points, and Kareem Thomas is in second, 101. Duke Rocks is third, 100 points. Keep playing that Yahoo Fantasy and win that Tar Heels Vince Carter autographed jersey. That's right. That is the winning prize for the winner of the Yahoo Fantasy Raptor Freak League. Cowboys saying respect Lex, Tom, Kareem, Nameless, Isaac, Mr. Black, Jimmy. Sorry if I forgot anyone. Everyone, keep your heads up and smash the like button. Thank you, Cowboy. And on that note, I'll say thank you for joining me on this Sunday morning for a reaction to the Raptors' loss to the Atlanta Hawks. We've lost the season series to them. This is just a bad year, guys. Bad year in all kinds of different ways. Let's weather this bad year and hopefully build from the manure of this year some very beautiful flowers and plants. But sometimes when you have a bad thing like this, it can really grow into beautiful things down the road. And it just may be that, like I said, this is one of those years we just need to take it. Bam, for Nameless. All right, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Thank you. And I appreciate y'all for joining me. And I'll be back tomorrow for a preview of the New York Knicks game on MLK Day tomorrow in MSG. That's right, baby. Let's beat the Knicks again in New York. It'll make things feel better. Come out better prepared, Raptors, and get on the jump on them this time tomorrow. Yeah, MK saying Scoot and Scottie? Maybe. Scoot Henderson would look real good in Raptors red. I would not have a problem with that. And it's such a good alliterative team. Scoot and Scottie. I like it. Isaac Campbell saying, you're awesome. Thank you, Isaac. You're awesome too. Forgetful saying, just guessing, but Pascal, etc., look like they have the same cold as I do, not debilitating, but energy sapping. Okay, so Forgetful is thinking that it looks like Pascal's sick right now. That could be very well could be true. That part of the things that he's dealing with, they don't tell us every little thing that these guys are dealing with day in, day out. And once again, Fred's not playing well right now. We've got to remember his wife is about to have his third child, and he slumped the last time his wife was later in her pregnancy. So this is normal, and we need to give Fred allowances for pregnancy. And when that happens, hopefully the reverse will happen, and then boom, he's going to be amazing after that. So we'll have to see. Hopefully that is what's going on with him, is that he's a little bit worried about the baby coming. All right, y'all. Have a great Sunday. It's a nice sunshiny day in Toronto, even though there's snow on the ground. So get out there and touch snow. I don't know. Tom Duke, enjoy the day. Go Raptors. Poop, sun, clouds, trees, maple trees. We need that manure. That's right. We need the manure to grow. All right, y'all. Have a great day. Let's go, Raptors. Let's go.